Hello and welcome to Financial Planner. It's a show where we take complex financial concepts and break them down into easy, digestible bits. My name is Smriti Rao. Now, I have with me certified financial planner Sumit Ved, and we're going through a bunch of portfolios that we received from our viewers. A lot of viewers have been curious to know about whether their investments are on track and whether they're making the best use of their money. Well, have no fear. We'd love to go through your emails. We've picked out a few. We'll talk to Sumit, who will be looking at them and telling us if those investments are on track. Sumit, welcome. It's great to have you back.
Same here.
So let's begin with a look at Kapi Marwa. I hope I'm not butchering your name, Kapi, but we got this email from him. He says he's a branch manager with a bank, and he says he's a lone earner in his family. He also has a wife and a little kid of 11 months, wants to know whether his investments are looking on track. Now, I want to go through his portfolio only because there are so many elements in that we can talk about, and also you can pick up a lot of interesting cues from that. Now, here you have this gentleman who has 30 lakhs tied up in shares, but on the other hand, he says he's very risk averse. So me just looking at Kapi's portfolio, I just want to briefly go through it. He has 30 lakhs in shares, mutual funds of 4 lakhs. He has insurance, both life and health. He also has 2 homes, 2 residential flats and a commercial flat, which is in his parents' name, a PPF of 3 lakhs, but he has no term insurance. Now, just if you've been a regular viewer of the show, I'm sure you can pick out a couple of points over here that pop out and say, hey, look, I need attention. But I'm going to start with a comment that he makes right at the beginning in his email. He says, I'm risk averse, but he has 30 lakhs tied up in shares. What does it tell you about the kind of thinking behind this investment?
Very interesting point, because what I see in this typical question is there's no direction.
Yeah.
There's just no direction. And just like any other aspect of life, if your portfolio, if your finances do not have any direction, I think you'll never achieve a distance. And distance in this terms means achieving a substantial return on investment over a period of time, helping you live goals and other important milestones for which you're saving or investing for. And that's very, very particular and very typical of a Indian investor. You know, we are great savers, but we are very pathetic investors because we do not do plans. So one thing which is missing in this whole question or this whole perspective is there is no plan, there is no financial plan which articulates what are those things which I'm saving for? When do I want to achieve them? How much time do I have? There is no prioritization of converting dreams into goals and trying to say, this I can do, this I cannot do. Because you don't have that, then you are trying to do what is the next best thing comes to you. Right.
And talking about direction, Sumit, I want to bring up this point is that for a lot of our viewers, if you just ask them, you know, a lot of us talk about our investments. We say, oh yeah, I have mutual funds, oh yeah, I have tax saving funds, oh I've invested here, I've invested there. But the minute you put it down on paper, you can see for yourself how haphazard those investments are. And then what would you tell people about putting down your investments on paper just for yourself to see? And also, how do you go about cutting off the things that you don't need, you know, like 20 mutual funds, 11 mutual funds? How would you sort of balance your portfolio?
I think it's spot on. Failing to plan is planning to fail. That's an adage which we always talk on this show, you know, the financial planner. And it becomes much more essential at this point of the year. It's December, year end, you're going to plan next year. This is the time to come up with resolutions. Say, I'm going to make sure, I'm going to write down my finances. I want to have write down of budget. That means kind of money I'm going to spend on various aspects of things. I'm going to involve my family, my wife, and other family members into saying, okay, this is where we are financially, this is where we want to go, this is the direction we're going to take, and this much will take from us in terms to achieve that distance, because everybody has to contribute and everybody's thinking is very, very important in terms of trying to. Writing down is first, but the most important step of this exercise.
Okay, so write down all of those financial goals that you have and also make a list of your investments. You'll be surprised to see how much clutter there is in all of those investments. It'll help if you streamline a little bit. Now, let's look at Kapi's mutual funds has 4 lakhs. Do you get a sense that that's a little less for someone who has 30 lakhs tied up in shares, just 4 lakhs in mutual funds?
That's right. I think the first question itself, that I'm risk averse and I'm investing 30 lakhs in shares, doesn't just gel well at all. Either it's an accident or it's a wrong figure. I don't know. You know, if we would have got caller on telephone or something, we would have asked this because it's completely contradictory. If you are risk averse, investing in equity directly is the last thing which you should be doing. And before we even talk about why you should not do equities because of risk averse, we want to even go and ask you why you risk averse. Because your age is young, you've got a family which is there with you, but you have longer time of earning, you are in financial services, so your ability of understanding risk is much higher than a normal layman.
True.
And keeping that in mind, you should have long-term goals for which you can take slightly more risk and create aggressive portfolios which have more composition of equity. Having said that, I think the bigger question which we are trying to say is, do we go and do equities directly, or do we go and do through mutual funds? Suggestion always is that if you are a savvy investor who's glued on to market day in, day out, sits in front of terminals, understand what downsides of direct investments are, go ahead and do it yourself, because that makes you having much more control. But there are very few people like this.
Right.
Very, very few. Even I don't do it. Very tough to get it right. So I'm a big time mutual fund investor. And that's a suggestion to most of the investors, especially this investor. Look at mutual funds, try and see what shares you have, go and sit with a financial advisor, articulate if you can come out of some direct equity stocks and shift them to equity mutual funds and create a long-term portfolio linked to a long-term goal with an asset allocation. As per the recent studies, 90% of returns come from right asset allocation, not from choosing right scripts or right mutual funds.
Now next, on this particular portfolio, we want to talk about insurance, because when you look at this particular portfolio, this gentleman says he has 2 lakhs sum assured, 12,000 is his premium, and health insurance 3 lakhs is the sum assured, and that's till March. So what do you think? Do you think the insurance, just looking at the sort of family that he has a wife, he has a very young child, just about 11 months, is his insurance adequate?
No, not at all. I think it's inadequacy to an extreme. Because if you really look at dependent parents, wife and a child, I think minimum insurance, without even understanding any life human life value concept, and because we don't have numbers, you should be minimum having 1 crore.
And it's very little over here.
It's hardly anything. 2 lakhs, yeah, that's hardly anything.
And for this gentleman, I mean, if he's a branch manager with a bank, I'm assuming that his earning capacity is much higher, and I'm sure he can put away a little bit more in premium.
That's true.
What would you tell him? How much should he be looking for?
I'm saying we need to do a detailed analysis, which he should be able to do himself, because he's into banking, and these days most of the banks are involved in some kind of insurance, sales or understanding of insurance products. He needs to calculate human life value in an extensive manner, and in a very dispassionate way understand it's not investing in insurance, it's buying insurance. Treat insurance as an expense. Before you even do direct equities or mutual funds, make sure your risk is covered by buying adequate insurance. He needs to do that. More than that, I want to highlight one more important point, which is very starking. A lot of my friends in financial services, I've been part of this industry itself for a very long period. It's surprising when we go and see their own financial health, it's not up to the mark.
Well, those who don't teach.
It's almost starking. I think if I'm a financial advisor, if I'm in a bank, I'm supposed to sit with my clients and give them a direction about what should they do in their financial life. The first responsibility which I have is towards myself and my family. So please, everybody, especially if you're in financial services, pay attention to your own finances first before you advise.
Okay, I want to ask you, if you had to rate this portfolio on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you give this gentleman? He has a lot of money tied up in stocks, yet he says he's risk averse. His mutual funds investments is very little, just about 4 lakhs or so, and he has inadequate insurance. So 1 to 5, what would you say his rating is?
I'm usually in life not very relative when it comes to financials and all those things, because it's many a time an emotional decision. Each family is different, each condition of a family is different, so we do not want to kind of demotivate someone or pass a judgment and saying good or bad. We're just trying to highlight importance of planning. So my answer to this question will be there is scope of improvement and definite improvement in terms of getting the direction right, because we are seeing instruments like equities there. That means there is some basic understanding. We are seeing some mutual fund, we are seeing some insurance happening, and we are seeing some questions which are being asked about. That guy has got articulation to go in the right direction. He just need to focus on articulating those direction in form of plan, converting dreams into goals, prioritizing them, linking it to each investment which he is doing, and making sure maintaining a discipline of living it over a period of time.
Alright, on that note, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we have one more portfolio to go through. Pratyush Panikar writes in, he's a BPO employee. He wants to know if his investments are on track. He's just 26, so it'll be great for him to get Sumit's view. That's coming up in a bit. Stay with us.